Okay, friends. So let's start with pointers. Okay. Uh, Wait a second. Okay. Hope all of you can see my screen. So I'll be just writing down the program here so that everyone will understand. Okay. So let's start with the pointer. What a pointer is, etc. Okay. So we'll deal with a variable. So in C language, first of all, what we are doing is before using any variable, what we will do is we will just declare the variable. Okay. So declaration of the variable includes, if it is an integer, we will write int, and if the name of the variable is a, I will write int a. Okay. So this is how we will be declaring a variable in C program or C language. Okay, so what happens when I write this step in A? When I write this step in A, if this is our memory, if this be our memory, then memory in some address, 2 bytes of memory will be allotted. 2 bytes of memory will be allotted. Okay, and the name of this memory location will be called as A, and whatever the value that we are storing in this A will reside in this memory, in this 2 bytes of memory. Okay, in this 2 bytes of memory, the value of A will be stored. Okay, since this is a memory, we can have in this memory will have a lot of addresses. All the points in this memory will be having some address. We call it as memory address. Okay, so uh, as I am declaring the value A, it is also associated with some address. So this memory space is also associated with some address. Let it be 1101. Okay, let 1101 be address of it. Okay, so and if we need to do any manipulation with this address, you have to use a variable. Okay, to store that address, we may need a variable. To store this address, we might need a variable. And the variable that is used to store this address is called the pointers. Okay, so pointers. So what is a pointer? Pointer is a variable to store address. Okay, so pointer is a variable which is used to store address. Clear? So if I declare int a is a variable inside the memory location, inside the memory, and that memory location do have 2 bytes of size, and it also do have an address. Okay, if we need to manipulate the values based on this address, we'll be using uh, pointers. So I hope you understood what a pointer is. A pointer is a variable that is used to store an address. Okay, uh, pointers are basically of 3 types. Pointers are basically of 3 types. The first one is integer pointer, second one is floating point pointer, and the third one is character pointer. Okay, so pointers are of 3 types: integer pointer, floating point pointer, and character pointer. Okay, so what is an integer pointer? We'll start with what an integer pointer is. Okay, A, look here, we can see that A is a variable and A is an integer. Okay, so here 1101, here 1101 is the address of an integer. I hope it is clear. Okay, A is an integer, so 1101 is the address of A. That means 1101 is an address of an integer. Okay, if you need to store the address of an integer, you will be using integer pointer. Okay, so integer pointer is a pointer which stores address of an integer. Okay, integer pointer is a Integer pointer is a pointer which stores address of an integer. Likewise, floating point pointer is a pointer which stores the address of a floating point variable. And also character pointer will be a pointer which points to the character, or we can say that which stores the address of the character. Okay, sometimes instead of saying that it stores the address of a character, we may say that it points to a character. Okay, instead of saying like we'll store the address of a character, we'll say that it will point to a character or point to a. Clear? That is a term used for defining the working of a pointer. It points to. That is a word that we use. It points to. Okay. So what we can say is now we'll see how to declare an integer pointer. Okay. So how to declare an integer pointer? So to declare an integer pointer, I will be writing like int star. So I'm writing ptr. Let the ptr be the name. Okay. So int star ptr. So int star ptr is the way to declare an integer pointer. Since it is an integer, I am writing int. To make understand that it is a pointer, I am using the asterisk symbol. Okay, I am using this asterisk symbol, that is star symbol, to make the compiler understand that I don't need an integer, but what I need to declare is a pointer. Okay, that's why we are using this asterisk symbol. And ptr is the name of the pointer. And ptr is the name of the pointer. So if I'm writing in this star ptr, what happens? In the memory, 1 byte will be allotted. 1 byte will be allotted. Okay, 1 byte will be allotted, and I will name it as ptr. The name of this is ptr. Okay, the name of this is ptr. So 1 byte will be allotted, and the name of this memory location is ptr. And what it can store? It can store any address of an integer. You can store the address of an integer. Address of any integer you can store. Clear? So if I'm writing in this ptr in main memory, what happens? 1 byte of memory will be allotted, and we will term it as ptr. And this variable can store the address of any integer value. Okay, to store the address, I'll be using I'll be writing the statement like this: ptr equal to address of a. Okay, ptr equal to address of a. We'll term this symbol as address of. It is an ampersand symbol. We call it as address of a. If I'm writing ptr equal to address of a, since a is an integer variable, the address of a, that is 1101, will be stored in ptr. So the ptr will be having the value 1101. Clear? So this is how we will be storing the address into a pointer. So if I am writing in the a, then a memory will be allotted 2 bytes of memory, and a will be the name of the variable. It also to have an address. To store this address, I am declaring a pointer. I name it as ptr. Since it is an integer pointer, since it stores the address of an integer, or we can say that since ptr is a pointer which we need to point it to an integer, we declare it as an integer pointer. Now the ptr can point to any integer. ptr can store the address of any integer. That means ptr can point to any integer. Okay. So this is a ptr. So I write in this ptr, and after that it can hold the value or hold the address of a variable. So I wrote ptr equal to address of a. So the address of a will be stored in ptr. I hope it is clear. Okay. Likewise, if I'm saying about a floating point variable, so if I write a float to b, okay, if I'm writing float to b, then what happens? In memory somewhere p will be allotted, and since it is a floating point variable, we will get 4 bytes of memory. It will be having 4 bytes of memory, It also does have what some address. Let it be 2201. Let it be 2201. Okay, 2201. Let the address of B be 2201. To store this address, what I have to do, since this is a floating point variable, to store this address, I need to declare a floating point pointer. Okay, so what I will do, as I declared an integer pointer, I will be writing float star ptr. Okay, so I wrote float star ptr. So since it is float star ptr, I will write ptr1. So it do have another key. Okay, so I write float star ptr1. So ptr1 is a pointer. ptr1 is a pointer somewhere in the memory. It also do have 1 byte. Even if the pointer is pointing to a floating point, or it is pointing to an integer, or if it is pointing to character, whatever the pointer is pointing to, it do have a constant memory size. And here we will say that it is 1 byte of memory. For any pointer, even if it is an integer or a floating point or a character pointer, it will be having 1 byte of memory. Clear? So ptr1 is a pointer, and what it can store is, it can store the address of a floating point variable. Okay, it can store the address of a floating point variable. So to store the address of a floating point variable B, I will be writing ptr1 equal to address of B. So if I write like this, what happens? Whatever the address of P, it is 2201. The 2201 will be stored in ptr. So the value of ptr1 will be 2201. Clear? So this is called the ptr or pointer. Okay. Now, the same thing for the character pointer also. So char B, char C, if I write, the will be character. The size of the character will be 1 byte. And for pointing to it or storing the address of it, I can declare a character pointer, and I can write the similar steps for that to store the value. Okay. Now, okay. Now, we'll again start from the beginning. Okay. Okay. So let there be a let the so let there be, as I have told, let there be an integer. Okay, let there be an integer. Okay, let there be an integer, and this integer, okay, let there be an integer. So I have written int a. Okay, let the integer be int a. And in this, if I have written or declared a pointer like int star ptr, so it is a pointer which can point to a. So in the memory, as I saw, as I told, there is a. Okay, there is a, and there is also ptr. ptr is a pointer which can point to a integer variable. Okay, so the size of this is 1 byte and the size of this is 2 bytes. Since it is an integer, the size is 2 byte. Okay. Using this ptr, so if I am writing ptr equal to address of a, what happens? The address of a, let it be 1101. Okay, let the address of a be 1101. This 1101 will be stored in ptr. So the value of ptr will be 1101. Clear? Using this ptr, I can just take the value of it, or I can use the value of it. Okay, so ptr is having the address of it. Now the ptr is having the address of it. So if I am using the asterisk symbol again, like if I am writing star ptr, if I am writing star ptr equal to 5, if I'm writing star ptr equal to 5, what happens is that wherever the pointer ptr is pointing, wherever it is pointing, the value will be 5. Okay, now ptr is pointing to A, right? Ptr holds the address of A. So if I am writing star ptr equal to 5, then ptr points to A, so the value of A will be 5. So this asterisk symbol to have two purposes. One is to declare a pointer. Second one, it is to take the value uh, of the address which uh, pointer is stored. Clear. So it do have two purposes. One to declare a pointer or define a pointer. Second one to use the value to which the pointer is pointing. Okay, so that are the two working or two duties of an asterisk. We can say that asterisk functions of asterisk. Simple. Clear. So that is a usage of pointer. I hope it is clear. If you have any doubts regarding this pointer, you may ask. If you have any doubts regarding this pointer, you may ask.